Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Yet again, with me here's Miss Kudriyah. Good morning, all students. Before we start our lessons, because we have to send our gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, because we can start the lesson and because we can have the lesson together here today with the healthy conditions. So before we start our lesson, let's pray together. Pray, start. Pray, finish. So, okay, students, how is your day? Are you all fine? So, I know we are all now that have been in quarantine at home, but it's okay if you just can't stay at home at the situation. It is better to stay safe, okay? So, I hope all of you still can study using all of your devices. So, let's have a fun study with this online class. And now for today's lesson, we will continue our last lesson last week. So all of you please open your textbook on page 27. But before we start, I want to recall all our last subject in the previous lesson. And the previous lesson is to state that we will do something and can do something in a text structure. And for today's lesson, we'll continue learn about how to state and that we can do something and to state that we will do something in linguistic elements of oral and written structural interactions text involving the act of giving and requesting information related to the ability and willingness to take an action according to the context of its use. So this material is very important for us. It is also because we always have been using to state that we can do something or to state that we will do something in our daily life. Not just us, but widely use it. So related to the text structures, the previous lessons, this linguistic element is to help the text structure more complete and easy to understand by asking and giving information of willingness and ability to do something in the proper ways by knowing the pronunciation, stressing, intonation, spelling, punctuation, and the writing. So did you guys know all the aspects of the linguistic element? If you still doesn't know, it's okay because we will learn about it today. So slowly we will learn about it in this time. So now let's start. Start the lesson that is on page 27. As you can see, there are several examples of about asking and giving willingness. Why? Why is it called willingness? Because they're using expression of will. And as we can see, both of the dialogue are singular nomina. Why? Because they're using nomina. This also, what kind of punctuation in their student? Most of them are using commas, questions, marks, and periods. So before that, the linguistic element and of this subject is we have to learn how we pronounce it, how it's expressed, what kind of expressions they use. If this willingness, they use expression will, and if there is expression giving ability or asking ability, they will use expression modal can. So because it in this example it so have using will, so it's called the expression is using a modal will. And why the singular plural? So we all know singular is having a single one, and the plural is like many more than one. So that the nomina of singular and plural noun that is used in this text. So all of you have to know all the linguistic element of this is text that is using like stressing, intonation that have to use it. So like you have to read it practically to have a perfect pronunciations. Like we have to read it together and repeat after me. Udin, will you help me to bring this book? After Udin, there is commas. So after commas, is usually have to pause a moment to giving a simple pause between the name that given after the name given is this a new statement or new sentence. And the for the question word is always ended with question mark. So that's why before the question mark there is the stressing book and the intonation up for giving the willingness. Will you help me? There is the intonation. Will you help me to bring this book? So there's stressing intonation that have to use it in the proper ways of we have to the make statement perfect in this linguistic element. So that's all for the linguistic element. So up till here, did you all guys understand what I mean and what is the linguistic element of this structure? So if you all students have understand, so let's move on to the next page. On page 28, there are also have some dialogues. So students, now we will have a role play here. We will have a role play. I will choose for each student is for every dialect to have read it with the perfect pronunciations, and after that I want you to identify the expression what that they use and the nomina that they use. So first dialogue, I want to choose each students. You have to read it. Well, if I choose this name, you have to read it and to identify the what kind of expression they use and what kind of nomina and how it the pronunciation and they have what kind of intonation, stressing, and the punctuations it is. So for first dialogue, I want Farah and Laila. Second dialogue, Ahmad and Nabil. Third dialogue is maybe Muhammad and Nasir. So for every student that I have choose, all of you have to read it, and I give you a write and write down the what kind of phrasing they use, what kind of nomina, and the how it pronunciate, which one is they have the intonation, which one is having the stress, and what kind of punctuation they have. So student, maybe for the other student, and you have to know it by studying or asking the student that map is choosing, so that they will maybe 80% they will understand. Okay, so for the others you have to ask for the chosen one to ask who asks what that still don't understand it. So okay, then it is good if you understand student material. So student, if you have question related to this material, you can ask me directly. Try to ask whatever that disturb you in your mind, and it also for your better understanding. If you have questions, that mean you have ability that you will be understand this material of today's material about the linguistic elements of transactional interactions involving the act of giving and asking information related to the ability and willingness to do something in the proper ways. And also students, I think that's all for today's materials. And now I want you to make a resume or a note of the important information that I've been delivered or I've been giving here. Start from what are the linguistic elements that are what expression, nomina, and how it's pronounced. From that note or resume, that will be your review at home of what have you been learned at this, to recall what have you been listened, and also to keep you remember all of the materials. I'm saying there's also the important information of giving ability to you all. So it means I giving the ability. I know you have the I also know you have the ability to understand all the material by reviewing them all again. And also after that, I will give you some assignment that you can do it at your home. It is on page 29 and 23. It's so that you have to identify what its speakers expressing. Are they willing or not willing, or they are giving ability or not giving ability, by reading the statement on that given in a page 29, and you have to work on it like it's on in a page 33. And there's some example there in a page 23. There is number 1 that the answer according to speakers Adnan. Like the examples, it's according to speakers Adnan, that's shown in the page 29. In the page 29, it's so that the answer is his dad will go to school to collect his report. Why is it according to Adnan it's shown like this? Because in a page 29, it shows the speakers Adnan says that my dad is very busy today, but he will come to my school to collect my report. So based on that statement, it can be concluded that Adnan dad will go to his school to collect his report. So that's all you have to work until the last numbers, that the example like Miss explained to you all. So for the assignment, have to submit it at our next meeting. Again, I inform you, if you have any problem or difficulties, you can tell me right away. So for the leader of the class, I want you all to manage the assignment. Next week's before the class start, I want you to gather all your friend words at my desk at the same as today. I have done and correcting all summaries all your last week assignment. And Ahmed, I want you all to have a better understanding. So by finishing this assignment, and you can still recall all what material that has been explained today. So for the class once again, I want you to take care of this is your friend's assignment and give it back to the earners for this today book assignment. Okay, so student, I think that's all for today's materials, and we have to end this class by saying Alhamdulillah together. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. For all students, please stay at home, please stay safe, and thank you for today. See you next week. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.